Hi, today's tutorial is all about understanding decimal fractions. It assumes that you have some knowledge of fractions already. Let's start. Decimal fractions are really telling us exactly the same thing as a fraction is, only it's written in a different way. A fraction has one number on top of another number. It is a part of a whole. A decimal or a decimal fraction has one number next to another number. It's still a part of a whole. Sometimes in life, us adults can get a little bit lazy and we shorten the way we say things. A decimal fraction is exactly the same as a decimal, only we've taken out the fraction bit, a bit like an apostrophe. Let's take a quick trip back and revise our MAB blocks. Remember how we've always been told that one of these tiny little blocks represents a 1, and one of these longs represents a 10, because 10 of these tiny ones will fit into one of these longs. And we've also been told that one of these flats represents 100, because 100 of these little blocks will fit into there. And we were told that this huge cube represents 1,000, because 1,000 of these little blocks can fit into one of these blocks. Well, today we're going to reframe our thinking, and we're going to say that one of these big cubes now represents 1 instead of 1,000. The reason for doing this is because we're going to break it up into parts of a whole, into little parts of 1. We could break one of these little ones up into parts, but it's going to get so teeny weeny and so small that it will be hard to work with. So, from now on, this cube is now worth 1, or 1 whole. This flat is worth 1/10, or 1/10, because 10 of these will fit into one of those. This long is worth 1,000th, because 1,000 of these will fit into there. And this long is worth 100th, because 100 of these will fit into 1. Notice that it's not called a 10, it's actually called a 10th. Notice it's not called 100, it's called 100th. I'll just highlight this with something snazzy. So this is what we have to highlight: the 10th, the TH, the 100th, the 1,000th, because that TH sound is really important. Just to make sure we all understand, this is called a 10th because 10 of these fit into here. So if we try, and it's not going to be perfect, but we'll try and recreate just to display, 10 of these will make 1 cube. Not perfect because it's a bit fidgety. I'll pop them all in there. And we can cover that with that so that we can see that they really are a 10th. If we were talking about them in decimal fractions, instead of being called a 10th, it would be called 0.1. And we're going to have a look right now at why that is. Take the number 354. All numbers are divided into columns that represent different values. For example, we have the hundreds column, the tens column, and the ones column. So this 3 isn't really a 3, it's a 300. This 5 looks like a 5, but it's not a 5, it's actually a 50 because it's in the tens column. And this 4 really is a 4 because it's in the ones column. Well, with decimal fractions, we also split our numbers into values which are in columns. Here's our decimal point. Everything on the left-hand side on this side is a whole number. Everything on this side is a part of a whole. So we have, once again, we have our tenths column. And please remember that it's a tenth. It's not a tens column, it's a tenths column. This column is our hundredths column, which is otherwise known as something over 100. And this column is our thousandths column, which is something over 1,000. So, say we've got the number 1.2. It's going to be 1 whole and 2 tenths. Do you know what that would look like on the MAB blocks? You got it. It would be one of these and 2 tenths. One of these and 2 tenths. So remember how this tenths column is something over 10? So in this case, it would be just this column here would look like 2 over 10 if we're writing it as a fraction. But we're not finished yet. We've still got this column to go. And this column is simply a 1. So it would look like 1 and 2 tenths. 1.2. Let's have a go at making another number. Say we take this one here. We put it in the tenths column because it is a tenth. Do you know what that number would look like as a decimal fraction? I think you do. I think you would know. It looks like 0.1. 0.1 is the same as 1 tenth. So it would be 1 over 10 as a fraction. Let's have a go at making a few other numbers, a few other decimal numbers. Say we had 2 of these. It's 2 tenths, right? 2 over 10. As a decimal, there are no hundreds, no tens, and no ones. But there are 2 tenths. So it would look like 0, oops, messy writing, 0.2. Should we have a go at another number? Let's take over one of those. We'll add that in. And a few of those. Do you know what this number would look like as a decimal fraction? How many wholes do we have? We've got 1 whole. So it would be 1. Put our decimal in. How many tenths do we have? We've got 2 tenths. So it would be 1.2, but we're not finished yet. How many hundredths do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hundredths. So we'll put the 5 in the hundredths column. We've now got the number 1.25. Let's do just one more, just to be sure. Rub this out. We might take both of these away. This is going to get tricky now. We'll put 2 holes in. We'll take one of those, and we'll take, or maybe not all of those, a few of those. Okay, how many ones do we have? We've got 1, 2 ones. Cross them off as we go. Let's try and write a bit neater this time. 2. Decimal point. How many tenths do we have? The tenths are the flats, and we have no flats. They're all over here. So we'll put a 0 in there. That's a messy 0. How many hundredths do we have? We've got 4 hundredths. So we'll put the 4 in the hundredths column. And our thousandths, 1, 2, 3 thousandths. Put that in there. So our number now is 2.043. I hope this helps you to see that decimal fractions and fractions both tell us exactly the same thing. They're just written in a different way. If you think you'd like to watch this again, if it might help you to understand again, just go ahead and press replay. Thank you.